Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? It's Yoshinana195 coming at you with another Black Ops old school gaming commentary from Black Ops 6. In this episode, should you die with zero? This is an idea put forth through the author Bill Perkins, which is also based on his book, Die with Zero, Getting All You Can from Your Money and Your Life. And I guess talking about travel and thinking about money and how it should be used kind of naturally got me thinking a little bit more about this book, which is really great, by the way. It's super short, pretty simple and easy to understand. I don't think there's anything too complicated, especially the way it's written. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's kind of marketed as a common sense guide, and I think the only controversial aspects to the book are just like the philosophy itself, and people are like, this is just, this is financially irresponsible, absolutely reprehensible, kind of like Bill Burr kind of level of like, and I guess maybe it's easy for someone who has money to kind of talk about what to do with money. People are like, it's easy enough for you to say this, but I just want to talk about this idea because I kind of do resonate with it. And to give you a little bit of the blurb of why I also find it so interesting, you can look it up on Amazon. And essentially, he says, imagine if by the time you died, you did everything you were told to. You worked hard, saved your money, and looked forward to financial freedom when you retired. The only thing you wasted along the way was your life. And I just love that in the sense that, tackles everything, kind of the themes from this channel about doing things that are meaningful and enjoyable and being okay with what you're doing with your life as much as possible. But to extend to that, dying with zero, I think what Bill Perkins goes into is like, as parents, kind of what you should try to leave for your kids in terms of the money that they have to use currently. And I guess maybe this is a video for you parents out there. This is a video for all the oldies out there who are definitely not playing Call of Duty. But maybe it's worth having a conversation with your parents about why are they saving so much, particularly when they get older. Because it's very wise to do so, but there is a balance in the sense that, number one, you want them to live their life as much as they can, while they're also particularly healthy. So like for my instance, my dad is 60, and he had like a particular event last year where he had like high blood pressure and collapsed, but now he's feeling like he's okay. Still a little bit, doesn't know exactly why, but that kind of was a bit of a shock to him to think like, geez, like I'm still kind of too young to die. And I keep telling him like, don't try to think about your retirement plan in the sense of, not just like, he often thinks like, I'm just going to have grandkids, play golf, and do the gardening, the 3 Gs. And I'm like, that's not a retirement plan. And like, also like before you retire, like do some traveling, use your money to have some experiences, and think about your life later on in the sense that maybe you should still do a working post-retirement. That's another side tangent for a video, but I guess what I didn't want him to kind of like worry about is like, just keep saving money for us. And just like, this is a nest egg that you'll get when I die. And I was like, one, you should kind of, you're so healthy right now, try to, have some experiences, travel and do things that you can't do, that you probably won't be able to do when you're like 70 or 80. Because can you imagine traveling when you're like 80 years old and your bones are like, it's just, I see it. Like I've done like some tours in Europe, or I see like these just unfortunately old people, like typically overweight ones, just waddling around. I'm like, there's no way. It's like the scene from In Bruges. Like, there's no way you're going up these stairs. Like there's no other way. You can't do these physical activities. It's just like, that's what happens when you get old, unless you've been keeping your body in check. And I'm trying to say this next part as non-selfishly as possible, but I was like, part of the book, he says, like, your parents, don't wait to kind of for them to die to then pass you the money, because chances are you won't need it as much when they do so. Like, you might be in a position where you're okay with money. So for example, I guess situation is like, say I'm 30 right now, and then my dad is 60. Instead of giving me like $10,000 from his retirement savings now, he waits another like 15 years or even 20 years until I'm like 40, in my 40s, mid 40s, already established in my career. I've got like a family, like a house. Money's still nice no matter what, but I'm a lot more better off, than I was in my 30s. And like that 10,000, it's not as it wouldn't have been as useful to me if I was at 30. And I mean that from, say, a standpoint that, what if you just take that money and invested it for the next 15 years, okay? Or like, let's say you didn't invest it and you went on a holiday. 45-year-old me might be like, man, I will always remember that time where Dad gave me that $10,000 where I spent on this crazy European trip, and and I drank so much, and I vomited everywhere, and I sailed Croatia, and I didn't get laid, but I tried to, and all but like, what I mean is, like, you go on an experience where, like, you're so grateful for that, and it means a lot more getting money as a younger person. I think as a kid, you're like, $10? Oh my God, I'm a millionaire. $10 to like a 5-year-old is like the world. And it's kind of that same thing where, like, imagine getting $10,000 as in your 30s, and I don't know, just there's something special about it, because that $10,000 when you're 40s, it's like, I don't know, it still might mean something, but the idea is that, I guess, you never know what kind of experiences, and it's kind of like also digging into that time present value of money from an economical standpoint. There, money today is so much more valuable than money in the future. So, and particularly if you're investing that money and letting future gains happen. Now, of course, your parents, he could also do that same investment. He could also leave it in his superannuation or 401k and just let it grow. But giving it to your kids, and I think that was the biggest controversial thing with Bill Perkins' books, was like, I'm not giving it to my spoiled kids. I worked hard for that money, and you know what? Fair enough. Yeah, it's your money to do. And I'm not saying like kids should be resentful of their parents because they didn't get that $10,000. I'm just saying it's worth a conversation to gently ask them about it, ask them what do they think about using with their money, because you don't want to go to the grave. And I don't know, like talk to me when I'm there, but it could be a nice feeling just to be like, I'm dying now. Cool. I'm content and leaving with my family, my $500,000 estate, and I can die contently now. Versus like, you die and you've given everything already. And also, this is the other part of the book where you can influence how they use that money while you're still alive, which is, I think, even more bolder and smarter to do. It's smarter to do that in the sense that you gave that $10,000 because they may have talked to you about a particular wise purchase, or you gave that money, and it does happen from parents to their kids to buy a house, and they can see the value of that house in real time. Versus like, you die, you have no idea what's going to happen to that money afterwards. They could choose to spend it wisely, or they could choose to spend it poorly. And I think having some say on that matter while you're still alive is just like a benefit. It's so much more beneficial to do so, and you can kind of be like proud of your kids to see how they're using that money. You could just also be proud or happy to see them being happy. So it's like a two-way fall where I'm like, man, I really resonate with this idea that, and I hope I do it when I'm older, where I think like, okay, I might have like a big nest egg, but I might start drip feeding my children to be like given a certain chunk of that, where I'm not going to give them all of it at once, but like every year or something, I'll let them, take a little bit of savings that I've done over the years, and for them to kind of carry on this tradition to their next generation and and just like this feeding of the loop. Because look, ultimately money enables us to do things that we kind of want to do, enables us to have the life experiences. And it's important in that sense, because people say money can't buy happiness. And I love Patrice O'Neill's take on this. Like, money can't buy health. Freaking poor can't buy health either. Money enables freedom and security, because if you do get sick, money can be there, and money can buy you different things. The whole sentiment, money can't buy happiness, is kind of founded upon just like there's more meaningful things that money can't buy, which is true. But damn, is money definitely not important? Are you kidding me? Like, it's important to like everything. It's important to everyone on earth. So your relationship with money, you should be financially disciplined. And maybe I'll do a video on talking about things that you can do to do that, and that I've done. Although there's freaking hundreds of videos of being financially disciplined. Maybe I'll make an Australian context towards it. But trying to realize that it's a fine line of like, don't regret using your money if it genuinely brings you joy. Sometimes it can be fleeting, and have a few drinks, you go out one night, and then you're like, oh man, I regret that completely. But think about the purchases where you're like, man, I have absolutely no regrets that I got that car. Or for me, it's like things that, like $250 shoes, ridiculously expensive, but I know how much I use shoes. It sounds ridiculous. I've tracked the time I've used shoes. Trust me, I've used them enough. But like, you use your feet every day, and like at minimum 8 hours. I'm not. There's no regret I'll ever have on those shoes, because I feel like I'm walking on clouds. Same with like buying a really good computer for like $5,000. You use your computer like guaranteed at least 8 hours a day. Same with bed, all this stuff. So your relationship with money should be like healthy in the sense that you know when to spend it. And think about like, how often are you going to use the thing, and will it provide you value constantly? If so, die with zero. That's all I'm going to say. This last little minute, I'm going to go into a little bit of this tense gameplay footage, because I can't remember if I win this battle or not. I remember, if you've been watching the channel, there are definitely way more losses than wins right here. And I'm hoping that we die with a win right here, because this is so tight. I'm just looking at this right now, and it's, I think, it's trios, yes, yeah. If you can get this house, oh well, I don't know how many people still play Black Ops 6, or if Warzone is still a thing on Black Ops 7, because I've heard it's like an absolute mess of a game, and I still can't believe Black Ops 7 is a thing. It just feels so cookie cutter at this point. But Rebirth is a very popular map, and yes, look at this comeback. Oh my god. Please, I think this actually could be a win. And I remember like wins were so rare that you just like start yes. Oh, it is actually a win. Okay. Die with zero, or better yet, die with a victory. Hopefully that gameplay was as exciting to you. It's such a rarity. Looking back, it's not the most exciting gameplay. I just got to take it all back. But hey, that's actually a decent team effort right there. And damage done. Yeah, second highest. Okay. Alrighty. Die with zero or die with victory. Give me some stories of where you thought about it's actually better to spend money. And like, what are some purchases that you've done where you're like, man, you know what? I've actually been so grateful that I've spent money on that. I've never like regretted that. I'm so happy to have this. And I actually did have a conversation with my parents, and now they're actually taking the time to be like, spend some of their savings, or if you're lucky enough, they've given you some of their savings. I want to know. Down in the comments below. That's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.